My mother-in-law faked a hospital emergency to shame my cooking, then sent me a bill. So I exposed her to everyone. If you'd asked me 2 years ago what the worst moment of my marriage was, I would have said something like a tough argument or a sleepless night with the kids. You know, the usual. But that was before I made the mistake of cooking dinner for my in-laws. And that was before my mother-in-law faked a hospital emergency to humiliate me. I'm not exaggerating. She staged an entire food reaction. Ambulance, ER visit, everything. All because I dared to make lasagna from scratch. And just when I thought I could put it behind me, she sent me the hospital bill. Let me back up. My name's Hannah. I'm 34, married to Alex Bennett, and we live just outside Seattle, Washington with our 2 kids, Chloe and Ryan. I've always been a do-it-all kind of mom, work from home, raise the kids, pack lunches with hand-cut fruit. And when it came to my in-laws, especially Linda, Alex's mother, I tried hard. Too hard, probably. She's one of those passive-aggressive types who smiles while insulting you. Oh, you bake cookies? My son never really liked sweets. Those jeans look so comfortable. I could never wear something that tight. You know the type. Before we go further, don't forget to like this story, hit subscribe, and tap the bell so you don't miss what happens next. But I still believe that, maybe, just maybe, if I kept showing up, kept being kind, she'd come around. It started with an invitation. A simple Sunday dinner, my house, my menu, my terms. I told Alex, I want to show your mom I can handle a big family meal. No drama. He looked skeptical. You sure? You know how she gets. But I was determined. I'll keep it simple. Lasagna, salad, garlic bread. How can she complain about that? He just nodded slowly and said, God help us. Sunday came. I spent the whole day prepping. Made the noodles by hand. Slow simmered the meat sauce. Toasted garlic butter from scratch. Even set the table with real napkins and candles. Linda arrived with her signature perfume and superiority complex. She kissed my cheek like I was a dog she barely tolerated. Oh, Hannah, she said, scanning the dining room. So rustic. It's charming. Whatever. I was used to her barbed compliments. Her husband Richard and daughter Jessica came in after. They were always polite enough. It was Linda who stirred the pot. Dinner started off okay. She picked at the salad, made a show of sniffing the bread like it might be poisoned. Alex rolled his eyes. But then, halfway through the meal, she dropped her fork and clutched her throat. Oh no, she gasped, hand fluttering against her chest. Something's wrong. I feel dizzy. My stomach, the whole room froze. Are you okay? I asked, standing up. I need a hospital, she whispered, like some kind of soap opera character. Now? An hour later, she was in the ER. Ambulance. Sirens. Drama. I stayed home with the kids while Alex rode with her. I was panicked at first. Maybe she had a food allergy she never told me about. Maybe something I cooked triggered it. I tore apart my kitchen looking for clues. Googled every ingredient. Nothing made sense. Then Alex called me. I answered immediately. Is she okay? He sounded weird. She's fine. Relief washed over me. What happened? Pause. She told the nurse she thinks she had a reaction to your cooking. I blinked. Hey, what? She said the garlic butter triggered something. But the doctor says her vitals are normal. Blood pressure's fine. No swelling. They gave her some fluids and she perked right up. My gut sank. Wait, you think she faked it? Another pause. I don't know, Hannah. But she was laughing with Jessica 5 minutes after the nurse left. Eating crackers. That night, Alex came home looking 10 years older. He dropped his keys on the counter. She didn't even thank the EMTs. Just asked if I liked the dress she wore tonight. I stood there in silence. All that work. All that stress. And she'd used my dinner as the punchline for some power move. I should have been furious. But instead, I felt numb. I swore I'd never cook for her again. But that's not where it ended. Not even close. 2 days later, we got an envelope in the mail. Alex opened it at the kitchen counter while I packed Chloe's lunch. Then he froze. I turned. What is it? He handed me the paper. It was an itemized hospital invoice. In my name. Linda had listed me as the person responsible for her ER visit. I stared at it like it was a prank. Is this a joke? Alex looked pale. She must have written your name down at check-in. And what? Just expected me to pay for her ambulance joyride? Apparently, yes. I called her that night. Tried to keep calm. Linda, I got a bill in the mail. From the hospital. With my name. Oh, yes, she said sweetly. They said someone had to be listed for insurance purposes. And since it was your cooking, well, it seemed appropriate. I swear I saw red. Are you serious? Well, if you hadn't made something so rich, I hung up. I physically couldn't listen to another second. That was the day something shifted in me. Before that, I was always trying to please her, always hoping she'd see me as part of the family. But now I was done. She wanted drama? She had no idea what was coming next. You know that moment when something snaps? Not loudly, not violently, but quietly, like a switch flipping in your chest. That was me, holding the hospital invoice, listening to my mother-in-law's smug voice telling me she'd listed my name for insurance purposes. It wasn't just disrespect. It was calculated. And for the first time in years of swallowing my pride, smiling through insults, and playing the perfect daughter-in-law, I decided I was done playing nice. The next morning, after dropping Chloe and Ryan at school, I made a call. Not to Linda, to the hospital. Hi, this is Hannah Bennett. I received an invoice for a patient I didn't authorize care for, and I'd like to speak with billing. I was transferred, placed on hold, transferred again, and finally landed with a billing supervisor named Janet, who had the kind of no-nonsense voice I immediately trusted. I explained the situation. Linda Montgomery. Emergency visit. April 14th. Listed me as the responsible party. Janet pulled the record. Yes, I see that. You're noted as the financially responsible family member. She filled it out during intake. I clenched the phone. She told the staff I was paying? Janet paused. Well, she signed your name. Your address is listed too. My blood went cold. Excuse me. She signed on your behalf. Not unusual in emergency intake when a family member's unconscious or incapacitated. I almost laughed. She walked in, smiling. Told everyone she thought she had a reaction to garlic bread. Another pause. Ma'am, would you like us to flag this for investigation? I took a breath. Yes, I would. Turns out, impersonating someone for medical billing is a form of insurance fraud, even if no policy is being billed. It's also, at minimum, misrepresentation and grounds for legal escalation. Janet filed the report. Promised I wouldn't be held financially responsible. Said their legal department would contact me if needed. Then she asked the golden question, would you like a written summary of this on hospital letterhead? I smiled for the first time in 2 days. Yes, please. That night, I told Alex everything. He looked horrified. She forged your signature? She did it with lip gloss on, I said. Probably while judging the waiting room furniture. He didn't say much at first. Just sat there, rubbing his temples. Finally, I always defended her. Told myself she was just old-fashioned or awkward. But this is sociopathic. 3 days later, the letter arrived. On official Seattle General Hospital letterhead. It was glorious. Detailed everything. Time of intake. Claims made. The fact that Linda listed me without my consent. That she reported an allergic reaction, which was ruled out by 3 attending professionals. That no symptoms were observed. That she was discharged in stable condition with 0 medical concern. It even included a copy of the forged intake form, with my name in crooked cursive at the bottom. Game. Set. Match. I thought about sitting on it. Thought about just moving on. But then I remembered her voice, smug and sweet. Well, since it was your cooking, no. She didn't get to keep walking around like she'd want something. So I wrote one email, attached the PDF, and sent it to every family member on Alex's side. Richard, Jessica, cousins, aunts, even her church group coordinator. Subject line, clarification regarding Sunday's medical emergency body text. I thought you all deserved the truth. Attached is the official hospital record regarding Linda's ER visit, which she blamed on my cooking. Spoiler alert, she faked it. The form she signed using my name has been reported for misrepresentation. No one is being sued, but I will no longer accept manipulation under the excuse of family. Thank you for reading. I'll be enjoying the leftovers in peace. Then I hit send. Reactions came fast. Richard called first. Hannah, I am mortified. I had no idea. Please know I don't condone this. At all. Jessica followed. She actually apologized. She told us she had hives. She literally said she couldn't breathe. We were all so worried, and then she made a joke about it that night. I didn't think she was lying. I'm so sorry. The best part? 2 members of her church group replied to me directly. Thank you for sharing the truth, Hannah. This is extremely troubling behavior. I hope she reflects on this. I don't know if they confronted her, but I do know that Linda didn't post anything on Facebook for a week, and for her, that's like falling off the planet. Alex came home from work the next night with a stunned look. She's furious, he said. Of course she is. She said she was humiliated. I raised my eyebrows. Oh no. The consequences of her own actions. He smiled. That weekend, we got a typed letter from Linda in the mail. No call. No knock on the door. Just a sealed envelope that said, You have made your point. I will be speaking to legal representation regarding defamation. I pinned it to the fridge under a magnet that says, "Don't start none, won't be none." And just like that, the power shifted. For the first time in years, I wasn't the one flinching at family events. I wasn't the outsider, the target, the punchline. I was done taking hits. And I was only getting started. You'd think after being exposed to half the family and her own church group, Linda might finally back off. Maybe take a beat, reflect on her choices, issue a half-hearted apology? Nope. Instead, she went radio silent. And I made the mistake of assuming that meant she'd gotten the message. Turns out, she was just waiting to strike again. And this time, it was at my daughter's birthday party. Chloe was turning 6. She'd been planning her party for months. Unicorn theme. Backyard bounce house. Glitter cupcakes. The works. We rented out a pavilion at a local park, got a small team to help with setup, and invited just close friends and family. After the lasagna stunt and the fake ER visit, I did not invite Linda. She wasn't on the list. She wasn't mentioned. She was done. Alex agreed. He didn't even blink when I said, "She's not coming." "She better not," he said. "I don't trust her around Chloe right now." The day of the party was perfect. Blue skies. Balloons bouncing in the breeze. Chloe was already sticky with frosting and sparkles by 10 a.m. We had just finished setting up the piñata when one of the event staff came over, looking uncomfortable. Mrs. Bennett, there's a woman at the edge of the pavilion asking about the party. She says she's the birthday girl's grandmother." I blinked. No, there's no way. She wouldn't. She did. I walked to the sidewalk, and sure enough, there she was. Linda Montgomery, in full peacock mode. Designer purse. Pastel dress. Fresh perm. Holding a gift bag so pink it practically screamed guilt offering. She smiled like she hadn't sent me a legal threat in cursive 2 weeks ago. Henna. I was just in the neighborhood and remembered it was Chloe's big day. In the neighborhood? I said, crossing my arms. "You live 45 minutes away." "Well," she chuckled, "I figured a surprise visit wouldn't hurt. I brought a present." I looked her dead in the eye. "You weren't invited." That wiped the smile. "Oh, don't be dramatic," she scoffed. "I'm her grandmother. You can't keep me from celebrating." "Watch me," I said. "You lost that privilege when you faked an allergic reaction and tried to pin it on me. And then when you forged my name at a hospital." She stepped forward like I was the crazy one. "Hannah, really? That's water under the bridge. I'm just here for my granddaughter." I nodded toward the staff member behind me. "This is Jenna. She's with the venue. She's calling security right now." Linda blinked. "You wouldn't. Try me." And just like that, 2 park security officers walked up from the entrance. I didn't have to say much. Jenna was already briefing them. I turned back to Linda, lowering my voice so the kids didn't hear. "You're not welcome here. Chloe doesn't need fake love wrapped in pink glitter and manipulation. If you cared about her, you would have kept your ego out of her birthday." She stiffened. "You're humiliating me." "No," I said, stepping closer. "You did that to yourself. This is me protecting my child." The guards approached. "Ma'am, we're going to have to ask you to leave the premises." Linda opened her mouth to argue, but something in my eyes must have warned her. Because for once, she turned around. No tantrum, no tears, just tight lips and fast heels. Back at the party, Chloe was too busy bashing a piñata to notice. But later that night, Alex pulled me aside. "I just want to say, thank you." "For what?" "For handling it. For protecting our kid. For not letting her twist it." I shrugged. "I just did what any decent mom would do." He looked at me like he was seeing me clearly for the first time. "No, you did more than that." The next morning, I got a text from Linda. "You embarrassed me in public. I hope it was worth it." I didn't reply, but I screenshotted it and sent it to Richard, Jessica, and the rest of the group who'd seen the hospital documents. Jessica responded first. "Unbelievable. You did the right thing." Then Richard, she's doubling down. Again. "I'm so sorry, Hannah. Let me know if you need anything." Funny how quickly people start believing you when the villain outs herself. And here's the best part. A week later, Linda showed up at church and wasn't allowed to sit in her usual front row seat. Why? Because someone had forwarded the security report from the park to her pastor. Not me. But I have a pretty strong guess who it was. She called Alex in a fury. "You've turned everyone against me." He didn't even flinch. "No, Mom. You did that." Click. That was the last time she tried to show up uninvited. But not the last time she tried to sabotage me. Oh no. There was still one more stunt. The pettiest one yet. And this time, it involved money. I didn't think Linda could surprise me anymore. After faking an allergic reaction to my cooking, After forging my name on a hospital bill. After crashing my daughter's birthday party and getting kicked out by security. I thought, finally, maybe she'd gotten the message. That her antics had gone too far. That people were watching now. That her reputation had started crumbling not because of me, but because of her own circus acts. But no, because exactly 9 days after the birthday party, I found a large white envelope in the mailbox. Handwritten. No return address. And inside? A typed letter. Neatly formatted. Like something from an office HR department. And stapled to it, an itemized invoice. It read, "Dear Hannah, as a result of the public humiliation I suffered at Chloe's birthday event, I am submitting this invoice for damages incurred. The following costs were directly related to the events of that day. Designer dress, Alice plus Olivia, retail $724 matching handbag, Coach, limited edition $295. 00 emotional distress, therapy session reimbursement $150 total due. $1,169. Please remit payment within 14 business days. Respectfully, Linda Montgomery." I had to reread it 3 times. Not because I didn't understand it, but because I genuinely thought I might be hallucinating. She wanted me to pay her for being removed from a party she wasn't even invited to? A party where she tried to play surprise grandma after months of manipulating, lying, and forging my signature? A party where she was asked, very politely, I might add, to leave before she ruined a 6-year-old's day? This was next-level delusion. And something inside me snapped. I didn't get mad. I got creative. I printed a copy of the invoice and highlighted each item. Then, in red pen, I wrote notes beside them. Designer dress, worn voluntarily to an event you weren't invited to. Handbag, still intact. Checked surveillance footage. No damage occurred. Emotional distress. Might I suggest journaling instead? Then I took the original invoice and shredded it. Cut it clean into dozens of tiny little strips. Confetti. Next, I taped every piece of that shredded letter onto a blank sheet of paper, like a crime board ransom note, taped and pasted with just enough chaos to send a message. And I added one sentence at the bottom, in thick sharpit. This is the only thing you'll ever get from me. Then I mailed it. Certified. 3 days later, I got a voicemail. From a number I didn't recognize, but I knew that voice. You think this is funny? Sending me back that mess like some kind of joke? Yes, I did. You've embarrassed this family enough. I'll be speaking to a lawyer. I didn't respond. Instead, I forwarded the voicemail to Richard and Jessica with a simple caption, she's still at it. Richard's response? This woman's unhinged. Jessica? I hope you sent glitter with it too. Alex came home that night holding a takeout bag and wearing the most relaxed smile I'd seen in months. Guess who I ran into? Please don't say your mother. Bingo. What now? She was at the grocery store. Told me she hopes you have a good lawyer. I told her I hoped she had good scissors. We both laughed for 10 minutes straight. The following week, I sent Linda one more thing. Not a message. Not a warning. A printed copy of Washington State's legal guidelines on filing frivolous civil claims. No note. No signature. Just a post-it that said, in case you want to waste your attorney's time too. I never heard from her lawyer. Probably because no sane person would take her case. But the real win came a few days later. I got a message from Jessica, a screenshot of a group chat. Linda had messaged the entire extended family, saying she was being financially harassed and intimidated with legal threats over a misunderstanding. But one of the cousins, bless him, responded, wasn't the misunderstanding that you pretended to almost die over lasagna? And just like that, silence. There was no apology. There never would be. But Linda stopped showing up, stopped calling, stopped emailing threats. And her next birthday? She spent it alone. According to Richard, she sat at home and posted old photos like they were new, trying to fake memories that no one was part of. Me? I finally felt free. Like the air had cleared. Like I didn't have to look over my shoulder anymore. Like I could host a party without preparing for sabotage. But of course, there was still one final chapter. Because no one plays the long game of passive aggression better than a woman like Linda. And she had one more surprise in store. This time, she came after my kid's school. Just when I thought we had reached peak lunacy. Just when I believed Linda Montgomery had exhausted every petty trick, every self-righteous tantrum, every backdoor stunt she could possibly pull. She found a new low, a new battlefield. And this time, she tried to get to me through my kids. It started innocently enough. One afternoon, I picked up Chloe from first grade. She came running out with her usual sparkly backpack and a smile smeared in applesauce. But then she said something that made me freeze mid-buckle. Grandma said she's going to be a helper at school next week. I blinked. Who? Grandma Linda. She was at lunch today. She helped the lady with the trays and gave me a sticker. My jaw locked. Linda? At the school? I walked Chloe to the car, keeping my face calm while my stomach flipped over itself. How did she get in? Why didn't the school notify me? Was she listed on any of the emergency contacts? The moment I got home, I opened the school portal, searched our family file. Only 2 emergency contacts were listed, me and Alex. No Linda. No one else was authorized to pick up, drop off, or volunteer on our behalf. So how the hell did she get in the lunchroom? The next morning, I called the front office. A woman named Sherry answered. Kind, older, sounded like she crocheted on weekends. I asked, politely, if there was a list of approved volunteers for lunch periods. She pulled it up. Oh yes, we have a rotating schedule for cafeteria helpers. Mostly PDA parents, a few grandparents too. Do you have a concern? I took a breath. Yes. My daughter mentioned that her grandmother, Linda Montgomery, was helping at lunch yesterday. Pause. Oh yes, Linda. She came in for a PDA application 2 weeks ago. Said she wanted to be more involved with her grandkids. I nearly choked. She's not authorized. Oh, and she forged her way into my daughter's school after impersonating me at a hospital and faking an allergic reaction to shame me. Sherry's voice dropped a few octaves. Oh. Within 10 minutes, I was on the phone with the principal. Mr. Parker, a calm, even-toned man with a voice made for neutral newsletters. I laid it all out. The lasagna stunt. The forged hospital form. The unsolicited party crash. And now, the unauthorized presence at a school lunch table. His response? Clear and immediate. We take this very seriously. If she's not on your approved list, she will not be permitted on campus again. And I'll be filing a report with our district administrator. Boom. 2 hours later, I got an email. Subject, unauthorized volunteer incident. Linda Montgomery. Inside was a formal notification that Linda had been placed on the do not admit list for both of our children's schools. Any attempt to enter the property without written parental consent would result in law enforcement being called. I printed it out and framed it. Not even kidding. Later that day, Alex came home looking shell-shocked. You're not going to believe this. Try me. She showed up at the school again. Said she forgot to turn in her snack sign-up sheet. And she was escorted out by a security guard. I poured myself a celebratory glass of wine. To justice, I said. That night, she called Alex, screaming, how dare she paint me as some criminal? I'm your mother. I have rights. He didn't even flinch. No, Mom. You had privileges. And you abused every one of them. This is what she's doing. She's poisoning you against me. No, Mom. You did that all on your own. Then he hung up. No yelling. No dramatic monologue. Just done. I thought it might finally be over after that. That maybe, finally, she'd get the message. But nope. Linda had one final move left in her playbook. And this one wasn't just about revenge. It was about control. Because a few weeks later, she showed up at our door. Not to argue. Not to scream. But to deliver a letter from her lawyer. You ever get that feeling like you're at the end of a very long, very stupid movie? That was me, standing in my kitchen, holding an envelope from a law firm. It was delivered by hand, by a courier in a blazer who said, "Are you Mrs. Hannah Bennett?" before dropping it like he was delivering a court summons. Inside, a 4-page letter. A cease and desist from Linda's lawyer. The highlights? You have engaged in a targeted campaign of defamation against my client, Linda Montgomery. This includes spreading false allegations regarding health emergencies, forged documents, and inappropriate behavior. You are hereby instructed to retract said statements, issue a formal apology, and cease further communication. Failure to comply within 10 business days will result in civil action. I had to read it twice before I stopped laughing. Because Linda? She didn't just cross the line. She launched a lawsuit from the wrong side of it. She was accusing me of defamation after months of terrorizing my life with faked emergencies, forged hospital bills, crashing my daughter's birthday party, and trying to sneak into my kids' school lunchroom. But here's the thing. Linda forgot one very important detail. She left me a voicemail a month earlier, right after I sent her the shredded invoice. And in that message, she admitted everything. I pulled up the file. Her voice, shrill and angry, crackled through my speaker. You think this is funny? Sending me back that mess like some kind of joke? You embarrassed me in public. You made me look crazy in front of everyone. Your little hospital stunt, the email to the family, the party with security. I hope it was worth it, because I'm not letting you win. Play. Rewind. Play again. Crystal clear. Admittance. Timeline. Malicious intent. I stared at the speaker and smiled. First, I forwarded the voicemail to Alex, then to Jessica. then to Richard. Then, after sleeping on it, I called Linda's lawyer, a man named Mr. Carson, who sounded like he wore suspenders and cried in elevators. "Good morning," I said cheerfully. "This is Hannah Bennett. I received your letter." Pause. "Yes, Ms. Bennett. I just wanted to let you know I have a voicemail your client left. In it, she confirms the very events she claims I fabricated." Silence. "I can forward it to you, or you can wait for me to submit it if she files." Another silence. "Then, let me speak to my client." Click. 2 days later, I got a second letter. Short. Cold. No apologies. Just one sentence. "Please disregard our prior correspondence. No further action will be pursued." I framed that one too, right next to the hospital letter and the school ban notice. Linda never brought up the legal threat again. She also stopped showing up, stopped calling, stopped texting. It was like she'd finally run out of oxygen. Or maybe she realized that I wasn't afraid of her anymore. Her ego might have taken a few more bruises after that. Rumors trickled in from Jessica, things like people at church whispering she doesn't get invited to potlucks anymore. Even Richard stopped defending her in public. But I didn't ask for updates. I didn't need them, because the war was over, and I'd won it without throwing a single punch. These days, life's quieter. Chloe and Ryan are thriving. Alex and I are stronger than ever. We host barbecues now, real ones, where people come for food and leave full of laughter, not resentment. And if someone brings lasagna, I smile. Because that dish, the one she tried to weaponize against me, became the symbol of everything I overcame. So now I want to ask you, if someone in your family went to this level of manipulation, faking hospital trips, forging your name, and trying to see you for standing up, would you forgive them? Would you let them back in? Or would you do what I did? And finally, close the door for good? Let me know in the comments. Because some family ties aren't just broken. They're cut. On purpose.